My name is Michael DeLue. Today is Monday, October 3rd, 2022. It's episode 102 of Pull Up the Tape. And I'm really excited to get into the politics of today's episode. With that being said, we can just jump right into it. I mean, it's been a great weekend of sports. You know, I had an amazing weekend. I had a blast. I can't wait to just jump in and politic on all the games I watched this weekend because, you know, this is what I do. This is why I'm here. Feel me? So, and this is what you guys are tuned in to do. Tuned in for, all right? That being said, I want to say every weekend in the NFL, there's, probably like 4 or 5 matchups where it's two really good teams going at each other. And those are the ones I like to focus on every single week. I mean, fortunate enough for me, my team was part of one of the really good matchups today. So I can't wait to talk about that. But the first matchup I want to talk about is the Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens, all right? So the Buffalo Bills were able to pull back the improbable fucking comeback win after being down 3-20 in the first half and come back to win the game 23-20. And crazy thing about this game is I'm at the sports bar, Tom's Watch Bar in downtown LA next to Crypto Arena, Staples Center, and I'm laser focused on the Jaguar and Eagles game, and I just noticed, all right, Josh Allen throws a pick early in the game, and then as I keep I'm watching, I'm laser focused on the Jaguar game. I'll look over, it's 7-0. Look over again, it's 14-0. Look over again, it's 17-0. Look over again, it's 20. I'm like, oh wow, and in my head I'm just like, damn. Is this really how the Bills are going to go out? Like, damn, they lost last week to the Dolphins. If they lose again this week, it's like, damn. It is still very early in the season, but it's like, the Bills really need this game like to continue to assert their dominance in the AFC. So in my head, I'm just like, man, if they don't come back and win this game, I don't know. That's not really a good look. Like now, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of people have the Bills as one of the few teams that have the roster, the talent to represent the AFC. So if they were to get stomped out like that in the first, that's not good. That's not good. But one of the things I was talking about, and I remember saying this last week, is that I think it's crazy that dating back, I think this dates back to week 1 of 2021, that the Bills have lost their last 7 games that came down to a 1 possession. So any game that and I know this for a fact because obviously they lost against the Chiefs in the AFC divisional last year. I know for a fact they lost to my Jaguars 9-6 last year. So they've lost 7 straight games when it's down to 1 possession. So what that tells you is in crunch time, the Bills don't know how to execute. They can't win. They can't grind out a game or whatever the case may be. Yeah, they could blow the fuck out of teams, but in the playoffs, when it really matters, can you guys buckle down and play sound football on both sides of the ball? And yesterday they were able to do that because they stormed back after being dead. And the crazy thing is, last week I was just talking about how the possession situation. And then the very next week, they figure it out. They turn it around. As I said, the game started off, I feel like saying the game started off terrible is an understatement. Like, that shit was horrific. Like, that shit was bad as fuck. And it's like, they're playing on the road. They're playing against a really good team with a very dynamic quarterback. And that's just definitely not the situation you want to find yourself in being the Buffalo Bills. Like, you want to that's not a situation any team wants to find themselves in. You don't want to be down big on the road and then have to climb back. Like that's not, nobody wants to be in that situation. But that's the situation they found themselves in, and fortunately for them, they were able to bounce back and get the W. As I said, this is very massive for their confidence, for them as a team. They're 3-1 now. They're atop the AFC, and it's just a really good win for them. And that the Bills have the offensive firepower to be able to keep up with anyone, and they have one of the best defenses in the league. Nevertheless, but like I said, they have to be able to put these things all together. They can't be losing close games with the roster as talented as they have. And it's crazy because last week They dominated the time of possession. And let me tell everyone something now that I've noticed in just watching the NFL this season. Time of possession means absolutely nothing. Like, you can dominate time of possession, and the same thing in soccer. You can dominate time of possession. You can have more possession in the team, whatever the case may be. It's what you do with those minutes. Same thing was when you go to the gym. It's not how long you stay at the gym. It's what you do while you're at the gym. So last week, the Bills dominated the time of possession. They had 40 minutes to Miami's 20, and they lost by 2 points. This week, they got dominated for the time possession, and they somehow found a way to pull out the W, pull out the victory. The Bills were horrible in the first half. Horrible in the first half. Horrible in the first. The Bills were horrible in the first quarter, mid in the second quarter. So the first half they were whatevers. The second half they turned it up. They started clicking. They started firing on all cylinders. Matt Milano was disruptive. Greg Rousseau on deep. Like, the Bills shut out the Ravens in the second half. So I have to give credit to where credit is due. Their defense, Micah Hyde, 2 big interceptions. The interception that led to the go-ahead field goal, Micah Hyde in the end zone saved the touchdown pass. Greg Rousseau is disruptive. Matt Milano, disruptive. Trey Edmonds was all over the field making plays. Like, the Buffalo's defense is for real. Once they tightened up the screws, they gave the Ravens absolutely nothing. Josh Allen, 19 of 36, 213 yards, a touchdown, an interception. Josh Allen, again, 11 carries, 70 yards. I've said this over and over again, and I'm tired of saying this. This is one of the things this is one of the biggest things that I don't like about the Buffalo Bills is just that they're so reliant on Josh Allen. It's either Josh Allen is going to save the day or we're going to lose. Like, I said this at the bar yesterday. The Bills might have one of the worst rushing attacks over the past 3 years in the NFL. It's like they have 3 number 3 running backs. They have they have 3 third down backs on their roster. I don't know exactly what it is, what's up with the play call, but it's like they get like, I mean, I guess Devin Singletary yesterday, he had 11 carries for 49 yards, and then on top of that had 4 catches for 47. But it's like, bro, the Bills rush game is just it's terrible. It's terrible, and it really bothers me because I feel like I don't know if the coaches don't see this offense. I don't know what it is, but the Bills rush attack is fucking dismal. It's terrible. It's either Josh Allen is gonna and then when the Bills do pick up yards on the ground, or if the Bills do get, okay, let's say 150 yards on the ground, you can best believe that Josh Allen accounted for like 90 to 100 of those yards for the most part, and that's typically what happens most times. And then Stephon Diggs had, a really quiet game, 4 receptions, 62 yards, nothing crazy, whatever the case may be. But on the Ravens side of the ball, and like the spectrum of the politic, it's like they have a lot of questions that need to be answered. First of all, why can you not hold on to leads? They blew a 28-point lead against the Dolphins. They blew a 20-point lead 2 weeks later. It's like, what exactly is going on? I don't know. Like, a lot of questions need to be answered by the Ravens. And then on top of them not being able to sustain leads, the play calling in the second half was horrible. Like, when I say horrible, I mean horrible. Play calling was horrific. That shit was bad. Greg Roman needs to be I don't know what exactly that was, but and I try not to overreact on a week-to-week basis, but sometimes you look at these things and you're just like, okay, well, what exactly is happening? Because it's the second time something like this is happening. Like, you can't just continue. Like, you mean to tell me you can't string together 3 points in a half? You can't string together 3 points in a half? The Ravens got shut out in the second half. And another thing, Mark Andrews. And I'm gonna take this personally because Mark Andrews is on my fantasy team. Mark Andrews, why do you only have 2 catches for 15 yards? The Ravens are as is, don't have the greatest receivers or whatever the case may be. So Mark Andrews being the tight end is also the de facto number 1 receiver, and like you can't have 2 catches for 15 yards. That's just not gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut it being my number 1, being my tight end in fantasy, and that's not gonna cut it in real life either. I'm not a Ravens fan, but it's like, bro, that's not good. And then John Harbaugh going for it on 4th down, on 4th and goal, when you should just kick the fucking points. That was a fucking terrible call. Well, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. You got and you got to take the points in that situation. You guys are in the red zone late in the game. You take the points. Like sometimes I really be I really, as I watch, like even Nick Sirianni, the Eagles march down the field, get it to the red zone. They're up 9 with like 2 minutes left. He decides to go for it on 4th and 3 instead of kicking the field goal to make it a 2-possession game. They're up 8. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't like, but hey, I don't know. Sometimes I really don't know what some of these coaches be thinking, but I'll get to Lamar Jackson stats. He had 20 of 29, 144, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He had 11 carries and 73 yards. Average day, I guess, at the office. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special, whatever the case may be. So then I'm gonna get into the second game. The Eagles beat my Jacksonville Jaguars 29-21, and honestly, I had at the bar. There was a lot of Eagle fans there yesterday. I was getting heckled. I was getting harassed. I mean, I guess I deserved it because when the Jaguars jumped out to a 14-0 lead, I thought we were going to blitz these niggas out the stadium. I was like, oh my. Hey, the Jaguars came. I said, oh, in my head, I'm watching this game like, oh my God, yes. I'm like, man, I love Sundays. But yeah, it didn't end up working out in my favor. But I want to give credit to where credit is due. Nick Sirianni is looking like an incredible hire. He has the Eagles playing at a really, really high level. I mean, personally, and I might sound like a hater, I don't really think the Eagles are all that good. Whatever case may be, I don't see them representing the NFC. I mean, as of right now, I guess because their record, they're the best team in the NFC. But I don't know. We'll see. But as I said, Nick Sirianni has the Eagles playing at a very, very high level. I mean, he has Jalen Hurts looking, cool, calm, collected, poised, everything like. Hey, it looks like they're surrounded. Hey, like I can only say good things about Nick Sirianni and his staff, his offense. I mean, I can't only say good things, but obviously they're 4-0, so they're doing a lot of things right. Jalen Hurts showed a lot of composure yesterday because, first of all, horrible weather. It was raining for fucking 4 hours straight. The whole entire game, it was raining. On Nick Foles, on Jalen Hurts' very first offensive possession, he goes on the field and he targets A.J. Brown. The ball's tipped into the air. Interception. Andre Cisco runs it back for 7. Pick six. When I tell you when that happened, oh my God, I was in that bar acting a fool. A fucking fool. I was talking big shit. Then we scored again. I was like, oh yeah, it's. But he came back, bounced back from that, put in a catch-day performance yesterday. 16-25 yards, 16-25, 205 yards, interception. He didn't throw a passing TD, but he ran one in for that first score of the game. Miles Sanders, man, that dude was incredible yesterday. He had 24 carries, 136 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, 5 receptions, 95 yards. His presence was felt. Dallas Goedert, 3 receptions, 72 yards. Like, honestly, overall, the Eagles came. They did their thing. I mean, I honestly feel like the Jaguars really, really could have won this game, but it is what it is. I can't really talk what I feel like could have happened or whatever the case may be. Like, I really just have to discuss and report on what did happen. And what did happen is the Jaguars ran out of steam, and I'm gonna keep it. I don't like to single out one player or whatever the case may be, but in this situation, it's hard. It's hard not to blame Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence fumbles killed every drive. Trevor Lawrence fumbled, it just killed the drive. Like, and here's the crazy thing. No, not crazy. On the stat sheet, it's gonna say, oh, the Eagles defense forced 5 turnovers, but in reality, they only forced 2. They had a strip sack and they had an interception. They have 4. Well, it's gonna say 4 fumbles and an interception, but in reality, one of them was a strip sack. That was the last offensive possession that the Jaguars had. That was a clear fumble, a strip sack or whatever the case may be. And then James Bradbury picked off Trevor Lawrence when the Jaguars were marched into the goal line, into the red zone, into the Eagles' red zone. And the other 3 fumbles, man, Trevor Lawrence, man, he was just sloppy with the ball. And as I was watching the game, the biggest one that just baffled me so much that I just really couldn't understand was it was 4th and 3. Trevor Lawrence gets out the pocket and he literally has 10 yards in front of him of open space. I'm like, oh my God, this is easy. He's about to walk and get this first down. The ball just drops right out of his hands. And I started screaming because I'm like, ain't no fucking way the ball just flew out of his hand and then we fumbled and Fletcher Cox picks it up. I'm like, what the fuck was that? We could have went 21 up. We could have went up 21-0. So many fucking miscues on behalf of and majority of them literally fall on Trevor Lawrence. I do not like to single out players when a team loses or whatever the case may be, but it's hard not to. Trevor Lawrence had 4 fumbles and 1 interception. 4 fumbles. 4. And another thing is, Trevor Lawrence, how do you fumble the ball on a QB sneak? How the fuck does that happen? That doesn't even make any sense at all. You can't even do that in Madden. How the fuck do you fumble on a Oh man. And then I'm trying to be realistic and not overreact to one game because at the end of the day, if someone were to tell me my Jacksonville Jaguars would be 2-2 after 1 month of football and be at the top of the AFC South, I would be like, I would look at them and be like, there's no fucking way that's true. There's no fucking way that's possible. But that's reality. And it's like, I know for a fact, being a Jaguars fan, I've been a Jaguars fan since 2007. And I've suffered and endured through so much fucking losing that this season I honestly said, you know what? I don't care what the Jaguars record is at the end of the season. As long as they are competitive and we look like we actually practice during the week when we play these games, I don't give a fuck what our record is. But I've low-key had to tailor my expectations because I've realized that after watching yesterday's game, the Jaguars are actually a good team. But we just made so many dumbass mistakes yesterday. Roughing the punter. That was a horrible penalty. Roughing the kicker. Horrible penalty. And it's just like, man, yesterday the Jaguars got away from who they were. Yesterday it was so apparent that the Jaguars got away. We barely ran the fucking ball, and that was honestly simply unacceptable. Jaguars ran, listen to this, look. Jaguars ran a total of 19 times, and James Robinson only had 8 carries, while the Eagles ran it 50 times. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. That makes no sense at all. The Jaguars ran the ball 19 times, and James Robinson had 8. The Eagles ran the ball 50 times. Doug Peterson, mentally, his mentality is just, throw the ball to score and, run the ball when you're up. And honestly, we should have pounded the fucking rock. Man, as I watched the Jaguars lose momentum in the first half, I was just like, you know what? The next possession, they got to come out and play smash around football and just grind the ball, whatever the case may be, move bodies and just try their very best to dominate in the trenches. And they did none of that. They did absolutely none of that. And in my head, I'm just like, you know what? The Jaguars fumbled this game away. But the silver lining for this game is, I can confidently say the Jaguars probably will not get blown out by anyone this season. We gave up 200 rushing yards, and we had 5 giveaways, and we only lost by 8 points. I guess that's the silver lining. And then another silver lining is next week we're playing the Houston Texans. They are easily one of the worst teams in the NFL. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm really excited, whatever the case may be. So look for the Jaguars to be able to bounce back from that. But overall, really, really good game. I liked it. I enjoyed it, even though my team lost. I lost a lot of money. I lost almost equivalent of fucking $250, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the last time I bet on the Jaguars, they won me They won me like $250, but it is what it is. And the last game I'm gonna get into and politic about is the Chiefs versus the Bucks. The Chiefs beat the Bucks 41-31, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really surprised that the Chiefs came out and performed the way they did because they had a chip on their shoulder to prove. Because last week they had a fluke ass fucking loss to the Indianapolis Colts, who in my opinion fucking suck. And yesterday as I was watching the game, and specifically in the first half, you could tell that Andy Reid and the Chiefs offense specifically took this game personally. And Nick Wright mentioned it on the What's Right podcast that, there's not a lot on the stake for Patrick Mahomes, but this is probably going to be Patrick Mahomes' last time playing Tom Brady, and he wants to go out and prove that, I'm a dog, or whatever the case may be. And on top of that, this is the Chiefs' first time playing the Bucks since the Super Bowl that they lost in 2021. They got fucking smashed. They lost 31-9. And I know that had to be on Trevor Lawrence, on Patrick Mahomes' mind, as well as Andy Reid, because they got blanketed, they got shut down, they got dismantled by Todd Bowles' defense, who at the time he was a defensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Bruce Arians stepped down. And I know for a fact Andy Reid's like, I'm finna cook the fuck out of this nigga. And that's exactly what they did. Andy Reid was on a mission, and you can tell that shit from day one, from the first play. And he was like, I'm about to fuck Todd Bowles up. And he was running trick plays, all types of shit, pulling out new plays, whatever. Like, you could tell Andy Reid was in his bag. And he was like, you know what? We're about to come here. We're about to make a statement. We're about to dominate these niggas. And they're not going to be able to keep up with us. And we're not going to let up. We're going to step on their throats. We're going to play Chiefs football. And we're going to go home after that. And that's exactly what they did. Patrick Mahomes had 23 of 37, 3 touchdowns. And here's another thing that was really, really, and one of the more impressive things that happened yesterday is the simple fact that, man, the Chiefs had such a balanced attack. Listen to this. The Chiefs ran the ball 37 times and had 31 more plays than the Bucks. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 19 carries, 92 yards, a touchdown. Isaac Pacheco, 11 carries, 63 yards. That screams balance. I don't expect that from the Chiefs every single week, but that type of shit, if the Chiefs can pull this out for the most important games of the season, the Chiefs will be back in the Super Bowl. Balance? You getting over 150 yards on the ground? What? That's crazy. And then on top of that, Patrick Mahomes was able to hit 8 different receivers. 8 different receivers. He spread the ball around. He made play after play after play. And, I mean, it also helped that they got an extra possession to start off the game, man. And honestly, for the Bucks, man, I don't even know what to say. For the Bucks, I don't really know what to say because Tom Brady played lights out. He was 39 of 52, over 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. But the run game was the run game was horrible. They had 3 yards on the ground, 3 yards rushing, 3 yards of rush offense. Leonard Fournette had 3 carries for -3 yards. Rachaad White had three carries for 6 yards. That's fucking terrible. That's a recipe for failure. And then on top of that, your defense gives up 41 points when they've only give up 14 all season. The most they gave up all season was 14 points. And on top of that, they just started off the game bad. They were supposed to receive the ball, get the first possession in the game. On the very first play, the returner fumbles the fucking ball. 2 plays later, the Chiefs score. That you're not going to win it. The Chiefs got up early and just never looked back, never let go. And you're not gonna win games when you give Patrick Mahomes extra possessions. That's not a recipe for anything you want. But the saving grace is for the Bucks is their division is terrible. The Panthers suck. The Saints suck. And the Falcons, they suck too. And as the Bucks continue to get healthy and get it together, they'll string together 10, 11 wins, and they'll win the NFC South and be back in the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't really think there's really – and then, as I said, Tom Brady probably played the best game of his season so far. He only had 13 incompletions through 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like Tom Brady looked like he had a lot left in the tank. Played really good. Mike Evans balled, came back, showed how important he was and how bad they needed him last week. He had over a buck, 2 touchdowns, 13 catches. Like Mike Evans was a nigga. It was a decent game on Sunday Night Football, whatever the case may be. I mean, just honestly, I'm gonna say this before I wrap up the podcast. I'm just really, really excited to be able to do this again. My goal is to get it as consistent as possible with this. Let's see how well that goes and whatever the case may be. And with that being said, I want to just thank everybody who's supporting, listening, rocking with me, whatever the case may be, liking, whatever the case may be, sharing, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna keep saying whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be. And with that being said, long live Pop, whoa, long live my brother, long live Nip, for me, long live Kobe, long live Gigi. Long live Vaughn. Long live Mac Miller. Hey, free Chef G, free Pooh Shiesty. You already know what the fuck it is. It's still comeback season, nigga.